wonderful day and that you're having a wonderful evening. Hello, Ritik, welcome. So I hope it's been a good day for everyone. Has anyone else managed to watch any of the other live classes? Has anyone learned any other topics? Does anyone have any questions? So today we're going to be talking about conditionals. So the zero conditional, the first conditional, how to phrase sentences to talk about the future if we can imagine certain things to be true. So we're going to look at the difference between the zero conditional and the first conditional, and why they're called zero and first conditionals. Good evening, sweetie, welcome. Hello, Mahima. So if I send you an invite link, you can join in the Zoom room. Hello, Mahima. Hope you're doing well today. Hi, Anush. So lots of you joining. So if you have any questions, let me know in the chat about what conditionals are. If anyone already knows about conditionals, tell me what you already know about conditionals. Good evening, Sukamoy. How are you? Tejaswani, welcome. Sakil, Madav. Hi, Appa. Does anyone know the meaning of the word conditionals? Why do we call these kinds of sentences conditionals? Ratik says, where are you from? I'm from England. I am in South Africa right now. Thank you, Roman. Welcome, Divya. Welcome, Anjali. So let's think more about the meaning of conditionals. Why are they called conditionals? So does anyone know what a condition is? What is a condition of something? Hi, Nush. Welcome. Hope you're having a good day today. Hi, Bandy. Okay, so this is today's topic. Zero and first conditionals. There are 3 conditionals. It goes up to 3, the third conditional. So there are 4 conditionals in total, including the zero conditional. Yeah, thank you for joining, Tejaswani. I hope you've been well. Says Maran says, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I've got news that I passed my French exam that I did recently, so that's good. Thank you, Ajit. Great to have you all, so many of you back after a long time. So I hope today's topic will be interesting and useful for you. Welcome, Jangid. So you're pro members, you can join us in the Zoom room. Okay. So today's topic is zero and first conditionals. So there are 4 conditionals in total: the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, the third conditional. Hello, Ganpat, welcome. So the reason that we call them conditionals is because they have conditions. Conditions. So when we talk about conditions here, we mean requirements. Things that are needed. for something to happen. So we're imagining a future or some things that would happen if the things that are needed to happen. So other things need to happen as well. Hi Raj, welcome. Utkarsh, you can join us in the Zoom room if you'd like. Okay. So that's why they're called conditionals. And that's why conditionals have things like if. If shows us the condition. If this happens, then something else will happen. So we call it the if clause. So in conditionals, you have an if clause. An if clause. Conditionals usually have two parts to the sentence. The sentence is split into two parts with conditions, with a comma. So the if clause is one part. Excellent, yeah. Appa's talked about the zero conditional, well done. If plus present simple, yeah. So we'll look at that in a moment in more detail. Excellent, Appa, yeah. So that is the first conditional. That is when we talk about something that is always true or something that is generally true. So first we're going to look at a sentence, a few sentences to practice, and then think about if we can see the difference between the zero conditional and the first conditional. And then we'll look at how they are formed, how we write them together. So excellent, Appa. So you know that very well. Welcome back, Anoop. You can join us in the Zoom room if you'd like. Shalendra says, not able to join in the meeting. That's strange. Let me check the settings. I've noticed that people don't seem to be joining. Okay, so I'm putting another invite at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so there might be, the reason for that might be it's linked to a different meeting for some reason. So I'm putting the link, Shalendra, for you at the bottom. So hopefully, I think it's gone through. Okay. So that is the link for you, Shalendra. Hopefully it should join in. You should be able to use that. Okay, I'm not sure what's. There might be a difference in the meetings. But hopefully that should work for Shalendra and Nemechad and Anoop. Excellent. Okay. I think that's worked now. So yes, we've got the different kinds of the conditionals. The 0 and the first are the ones that we're focusing on today. And then we will look at the second and the third in the future. Hi Anoop, are you there?
Yeah. Good
I
evening.
think
Good
good
evening, ma'am.
evening. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you. How are you,
Good.
ma'am?
I'm good. I'm good today. I'm in a good mood.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Shalendra, you're audible. I can hear you.
Okay,
How
ma'am.
are you?
Okay.
How are you today, Shalendra?
I'm good.
Good. Great. Have you been exercising again today?
Yes, ma'am. It's my daily routine. I never forget to do it.
Even if you're not feeling well, is that how you always start your day? Is that the thing that helps you start your day?
Yes, ma'am. Starts with exercise.
Okay, very good. So even if you don't feel like doing it, you still make yourself do it?
Yeah. That is called.
Okay. I think Shalendra, you've broken up for a moment.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello? Yeah, sorry, it broke up for a moment.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That is called discipline.
Very good. Yeah, very good. I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, not feeling like it on the day. I know that's something I struggle with. So Seema, I've shared the invite link again for you at the bottom. Giotti, welcome. I'm good. How are you? Excellent. So I'm glad that you're all able to join again. So yes, we're going to look at examples of the 0 and first conditional, lots of examples. Pratik, we're going to have lots of examples today, but I just want to think about the main ideas in conditionals. Okay. So the main idea is that we have the if part of the sentence tells us what needs to happen for something else to happen. So we can think of if something happens, then something else. That's the main idea behind conditionals. And it's true for most of the conditionals, but the 0 conditional is a little bit different. So we're going to have a look at that. So we call this part of the sentence the if clause, and the other is the other type of clause. So we'll look at it. It depends on if it's the 0 conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional. Okay. Okay, so Shalesha, if you go back, there's a code that I've put into the link, a new code. If you click on the link that I put in, it's on the web link, so you can join. Okay, so let's do some examples for everyone. And these are sentences which are both the first and the 0 conditional. So the idea is to match up the first part of the sentence to the second part of the sentence. So does anyone think they know? Let's start with the first part. If I'm tired, if I'm tired. So this is the condition, if I'm tired. What happens if I'm tired? If I'm tired, what is going to happen? So the answer is one of these sentences in red. So does anyone think they know what the answer is?
I will stay home tonight.
Excellent, well done. If I'm tired, I will stay home tonight. If I'm tired, I will stay home tonight. So the condition is if I'm tired. The condition is I must be tired. and then I will stay home tonight. So to make staying home tonight happen, I must be tired. That is the requirement. So we're talking about the future. I will stay home tonight, but the if part is in the present. If I am tired. Okay, excellent. Let's try the next one. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel nervous. What matches that? I don't feel nervous.
If I need to make a big speech.
Yeah, excellent, excellent, Shalendra, well done. I don't feel nervous if I need to make a big speech. So the only difference here is we swapped around the if. The if part is on the second part of the sentence, but it's still a requirement. If I need to make a big speech, that is the condition, what is going to happen? Well, I don't feel nervous. So the difference between this and the first sentence, we've swapped the order. We've put the if condition in the second part of the sentence. And the other clause, the clause that isn't the if clause, is not in the future. It's not I won't feel nervous, I will not feel nervous. It's I don't feel nervous. I don't feel nervous. So that's the difference, and we're going to have a think about that. So is this making sense to anyone, or does anyone have any questions so far? Kushangi, but it's because I can only let people with pro memberships into the Zoom room. That's why. So Yogesh and Amika, you can join. There's a link that I've put in. Roman says, now I'm in Thailand. I went here last week. Excellent, Roman. Great. That's great to know that you're having fun. So does anyone have any questions about? Excellent, Sarika. Well done. If we don't go to France, we
might go to Egypt.
Excellent, Alicia. We might go to Egypt. If we don't go to France, we might go to Egypt. Excellent. So it's the same as the first part. The if is in the first question. The if is in the first part of the sentence. We have the if clause. The non-if part of the sentence, we've not used will, we've used might. We might go to Egypt. So we're going to look at that. There's different options. We can use will to talk about the future. We can use might if we're not certain, if we don't know. Excellent, Reshma. If I need to make a big speech, I don't feel nervous. Excellent. Yeah. So does anyone know which is a different kind of sentence? We're going to start thinking about that. So I'm going to tell you that the first sentence we did, if I'm tired, I will stay home tonight, is the first conditional. The second sentence, I don't feel nervous if I need to make a big speech, or if I need to make a big speech, I don't feel nervous, is the first conditional. Sorry, the zero conditional. Because the zero conditional is when we talk about things in general, things that are always true. But the first conditional is when we're talking about something specific in the future. So the zero conditional is always true. It's always true that if I need to make a big speech, I don't feel nervous. Pratik says, what is zero? Zero is the number 0 equals nothing. It's just a name for it. It's just to help us thinking about ordering the conditionals based on things like how complex they are, how simple they are, how we're adding new tenses. So we're going to look at exactly what the zero conditional is. We're just getting some ideas about it. The first conditional is for things happening in the future. So you might notice that as we look through the sentences. I'm going to explain it in lots of detail. This whole class is about explaining it and understanding it, Pradeep. So we're going to look at it in lots. Excellent, Roman. So what other countries have you been to? So Roman says that he's been to lots of countries. He's hitchhiking. He's traveling a lot. Excellent, Sarika. So Sarika has answered the fourth question. I won't sleep well if I eat too much.
I eat too much before bed.
Before bed.
Excellent, Nami. Well done. Excellent. If I eat too much before bed. Yeah. So
Thank
again,
you.
we've swapped the if. We don't always need the if at the first part. Sometimes it can be in the second part. If I eat too much before bed, I won't sleep well. So it's the first conditional again, because we're talking about,
Won't sleep well.
yeah.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Can we use if and will in one sentence?
No, usually not. We're going to look at lots of examples. Usually not, but there are times when you can combine them, but not all the time. So not as a general rule. It has to be for a certain conditional. So we'll look at that. I'll show you examples.
Delayed. I
Okay,
will
ma'am.
tell her.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome,
He will-
Shalesha. Yeah, excellent. If
Good.
the train is delayed, I'll tell her. Oh, let's go back. I'll tell her that we will be late. Excellent. So this is again the first conditional. It's something that might happen in the future, that is going to happen. So it's the first conditional. This sentence, I won't sleep well if I eat too much before bed. It is possible to make it the zero conditional, to make it a general rule, if we changed this won't into don't. I don't sleep well if I eat too much before bed. That makes it a general rule. That makes it something that is always true. But because we said I will not, we're talking about a specific moment in time, something that is going to happen in the future.
Ma'am,
Yeah?
ma'am, in the sentence, I won't sleep well, rather than of using don't, can we use can't?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, that also makes it the zero conditional. I can't sleep well if I eat too much. It's in general. Yeah, it's in general and it's in the present, simple.
All right, ma'am. Thank
So
you
that
so
also
much, ma'am.
works. You're welcome, Shleisha. Great question. So Anamika, so I'll send you another link. So I'm
We
putting it in
will-
the chat again. Use this link. Yeah, Nami?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. So Pratik says first conditional means it is for the future, and zero conditionals is for something that is always true. Excellent, Pratik. Great, you've got it. Excellent, well done. So Mina and Seema, if you want to join, use the link that I put at the bottom, the one that I wrote in the chat. Okay. Okay. So those are some examples. So let's think about how to form it a little bit. So let's think about the actual rule, the grammar of it. So we have the zero conditional. And then we have the first conditional. So does anyone think they know the rules based on anything we've seen so far, or based on knowledge you already have? Does anyone think they know the rules of how we form the first conditional or the zero conditional? Does anyone want to have a guess? So we had someone in the chat who knew the first conditional very well. Okay, well, let's go through the rule. So we'll start with the zero conditional, the zeroth conditional. So because it's general, whenever we use something in general, or talk about something in general, we always use the present simple. If you were to say, I always run in the mornings, like Shailendra does, you're using the present simple. So the same is true here, when we're using the zero conditional. It's always about using the present simple, but here we can use it if. So we add an if clause. If clause, the condition to make something happen. So you might say, Shailendra might say, if I can, I always run in the mornings. If I can, I always run in the mornings. So it's always true. If I'm able to, I always run. So that's what makes it the zero conditional. We can use if. We don't have to use if. There's another option. We can use when instead of if. So I might say, talking about discipline, and because I'm not as disciplined as Shailendra, I only run when I feel like it. So I might say, when I feel energetic, I run in the mornings. So both those sentences are the zero conditional. You can use if or when to describe something that has to be true to make something else happen. So we have to have an if clause, or we can use when. We can use a when clause. That's used to explain the condition. So that's half the sentence, the if, the when clause, and then something that is in the present simple. We can also use will in the zero conditional. That's when it gets a little bit confusing. So we're going to look at this. So we have the if clause on one side, or the when clause, plus the present simple. Or something that could be when, if we're talking about something that is always true. So we can use will for the zero conditional, but we're not talking about a specific event in the future. We're still talking in general. So usually when you see will and if, it's zero, you're talking about the future, but there are times when it can be to talk in general. For example, if you eat too much food all the time, you will get fat. I'm not talking about one specific event. I'm talking in general. It has to be in the future here because it's one thing after another. So that's when we can use will, when something happens first and then something else. Pratik says, if I wake up early, then I always go to the gym. Excellent, Pratik. Yeah, that's definitely the zero conditional. So the zero conditional is easy to spot if you're using the present simple, and a little bit difficult when you're using will, but definitely the present simple. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
can we use would in zero conditional
In the zero conditional.
sentences?
Are you asking about the zero conditional or the first conditional or both?
Can we use would in zero conditional sentences?
Not really. It's usually will.
All
Would
right,
is a
ma'am.
little bit different. We can use them in other conditionals, but not the zero conditional.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's better to use will. You're welcome. Okay. So those are some examples of the zero conditional. So that's the rule. That's how we form it. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to tell, is it the zero conditional? Is it the first conditional? So we need to know the context about are they talking about something that is in general, or are they talking about something that is specific, that is going to happen? That is going to happen in the future, so not in general. So the zero conditional is always when we're talking about things in general. Things in general that are true. So if somebody wants to have a go at practicing coming up with a zero conditional sentence, let me know before we move on to how to form the first conditional. So does anyone in the chat have any questions about that? So Pratik, excellent. Pratik says, if you eat too much, then you get obsessed. Oh, obese. I think you mean obese, Pratik. So we spell it like this, obese. Yeah, excellent. Zero conditional. We're talking about things that always happen. Well done, Pratik. So it's definitely the zero conditional. Hi, Lepashi. Okay, excellent. So let's move on to how to form the first conditional. The first conditional. So why do we use the first conditional? We use it when we want to talk about things that are going to happen in the future, or things that are possible in the future. So things that are going to happen in the future if a condition is met. If something happens, we need something to happen before something else is going to happen. So we can say things that are definitely going to happen, or things that are possibly going to happen. We might not know because we need the condition to be met. So unless the condition is met, it might not work. So Pratik, we say, when I feel energetic, I always run in the mornings. It's mornings plural because we're talking in general about a lot of mornings, all the mornings. So it's in plural. We're not talking about one morning in the future. So Sarika says, if I didn't eat my medicines on time, I got sick easily. So this isn't the first conditional or the zero conditional. You're trying to say in general, but you're not using the present simple. You're using the past. Sarika, so you've said, if I didn't, I got sick. To use the zero conditional, you would have to say, to be talking about in general, if I don't. If I don't. That if clause has to be in the present simple as well. So we need both parts to be in the present simple. So the if clause, the when clause, is in the present simple as well. And the other part of the sentence is also in the present simple, or will sometimes. So Sarika, you would have to say, if I don't eat, we usually say take medicines. We don't say eat medicines. If I don't take medicines, if I don't take medicines, on time, the second part of the clause, we use the present simple again. I get sick. I get sick. If I don't take my medicines on time, if I don't take my medicines on time, I get sick. Yeah, excellent. So that will be the zero conditional. That's in general. So we have the present simple. If I don't is in the present. I do not. I get sick, also in the present simple. You can also say, if I don't take my medicines on time, I will get sick. But it's less clear here that we're talking about in general. So sometimes it's better not to use will and better just to use the present simple for the zero conditional if you can, because then it's more clear that you're talking about in general. So Nihal, I said if you use mornings, not morning, because it's more than one morning, not just one moment in time. The zero conditional is in general, all mornings, all mornings. So it's more than one. So let's think more about
Ma'am?
Yeah?
Ma'am, I have a sentence on zero conditional.
Sure.
If he wants, he always performs intense workout in order to have abs.
Yeah. We sometimes say to get abs if you're talking about trying to exercise to create muscles. We say get abs or get muscles. Yeah. If he wants, he always performs intense. Yeah, that's fine. If you
Ma'am,
want,
rather than of if he wants, what else can we say?
you can say if he wants. So you can also add to exercise just to make it clear what it is that he wants, because we need to finish that idea. You don't have to, it still makes sense, but just to make it more clear, if he wants to exercise, he always performs. He will always perform, you can say as well. So you can use the will. He will always perform. That's in general as well. And you can use the will there because it's clear that you're talking in general because you have the word always. So the word always makes it clear that you're talking in general. So it's fine to use will there as well. Does that make sense? So Shalaisha, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's cut out. Okay, I think we've lost Shalaisha, but we'll come back to her question. Okay, so let's think about.
Ma'am, I have one sentence.
Yeah, sure.
If I don't eat breakfast, I feel less energetic throughout the day.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Great sentence. Yeah, definitely the zero conditional, definitely in general. Yeah, excellent, Shalandra, well done. Nihal says, if I don't complete my homework, then my teacher will punish me. Yeah, excellent. So that it isn't clear if you're talking about in general or if you're talking about one moment in the future. So that it is possible that that is the first conditional as well. If I don't complete this homework, then my teacher will punish me. That's the first conditional because we're talking about one time. If you're saying in general, all the time, if I don't complete my homework, then my teacher will punish me. To make it clearer that it's in general, you can use when with will. So if you want to use will to talk about something that is general, if you want to use will in this part of the sentence with the zero conditional, if you use when, then it's more clearer that it's in general, because when shows we're talking about things in general. So when I don't finish my homework, my teacher will always punish me, or if I don't. So when is very clear. Okay. So let's think more about how to form the first conditional. Okay. So you can say, when I don't complete my homework, my teacher punishes me. So use when with the present simple, but it's clearer that you're talking about generalities. If you're not sure if your sentence is clearly showing it's general, or you've used will and it's a little bit confusing. So Shalesha, welcome back. So
Extremely sorry, ma'am. Actually, I
no
have
problem.
some internet issues today.
No problem. That's very common. We always have them. I often have internet problems. So I was just saying that you can also use will in your sentence. If he wants to exercise, he will, because we know it's a general sentence because you've used the word always. That's why you can also use will. So it's still clear that you're talking in general. So that's also possible. So the only time that we try not to use will is if it's not clear that you're talking in general. So I was just saying, I think you missed that if you are not sure and you've tried to use will, and it's not clear if you're talking about in general or one time, then you can just use will with the present simple. And that makes it very clear, because when.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome, no problem. So, yeah.
Ma'am, I have it. I made a one sentence.
Yeah.
Hello. If they had given me chance, I would have been a skilled trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this isn't. It's a fine sentence. If they would have given me a chance.
No, ma'am. If they had given me.
Yeah. If they had given me.
Yes.
If they had given me a chance, I would
have been a skilled trainer.
So you would say, if they had given me a chance, I would still be a trainer.
No, madam. But my sentence was, I would have been a skilled trainer. Is it right or wrong?
It's wrong to say, if they had given me a chance, I would have still be a trainer, because you're talking about the present. So would have.
No, ma'am. I would have been a skilled trainer. I would have been.
I would have been. But the problem is,
I would have been.
Yeah.
I would have been a skilled trainer.
I would have been still a trainer.
No, not still. Skilled trainer. Skilled.
A skill. I would have been. Yeah, I would have been a skilled trainer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. If they had given me a chance, I would have been a skilled trainer. That's great. It's a perfect sentence. It's not the zero or the first conditional, because we're talking about the past. So the zero conditional is for in general. The first conditional is for things in the future. This is getting on to the second and third conditionals, which we're going to look at. So this is not the zero or the first, but the sentence is fine. The sentence is correct.
Okay.
But it's
Okay,
about the
thank you, ma'am.
past. You're welcome. So Pratik says, if we will get late, we miss our flight. So for the zero conditional, we don't combine if and will. That's the rule. We don't combine if and will. So that's answering Shalesha's question. Can you combine if and will? In certain times, but not like that. So we can't say if we will get late. For the zero conditional, it's if we are late. So this has to be the first part of the sentence, the if or the when part has to be in the present simple. So we have to say, if we are late, that's the present simple. And that's part of the sentence. Or when we are late. The second part of the sentence can have will in it, but not the if or the when part. So that is the important rule with the zero conditional. So if we are late, we will miss our flight. That is a fine sentence, but it's not the zero conditional. It's the first conditional. Because you're talking about one time in the future. So that's the first conditional. It's not in general. When we are late, we miss our flight. That is the zero conditional. When we are late, we miss our flight. That is the zero conditional, because we are talking about things in general. If we are late, we miss our flight. That's okay. So I hope that's clear, Pratik. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Shalendra, do you have a question? Yeah, Shalesha? Yeah?
Ma'am, I have one more sentence. May I?
Yeah? Yeah, of course.
If I am able, then I will always attend the Hello English classes.
Yeah, excellent. If I am able, so we can say if I am, but in speech it sounds a bit better to say if I'm able. That's a very common contraction. If I'm able, I will always attend Hello English classes. Excellent. That's definitely the zero conditional, because you're making it clear with the always. If I'm able, I will always attend. Yeah. You could also say, if I'm able, I attend. If I'm able, I attend HE classes. Both is correct and both is the zero conditional. So the always makes it clear with will. So that's a way of making it making somebody sure that you're the reader or the person listening to you, that you're talking in general. So excellent.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, am I using will in a right way, in an appropriate way?
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Okay. So yes, it's just the present simple is always more clear that you're talking in general. So it's easier to use the present simple for the zero conditional. But you can use will as well if you make sure that it's obvious what you're talking about. Excellent, Nihal, that's true. If today is Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday, great. That also is a zero conditional. It's all in the present simple and it's always true. If today is Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah, that's always true when it's the case. Excellent sentence, Nihal. Well done. Great, Pratik. Okay, so let's think about how to form the first conditional and do some more practice exercises. So the first conditional is when things might happen. They are possibly going to happen. So we can use other words apart from will to show that it's less certain. We saw that. We looked at using might already. So if we use will in the first conditional, we know it is going to happen. It is certainly going to happen when the condition is met, if the condition is met. But we can use may happen, it might happen, and it could happen. So this is how we form the present simple. Sorry, the first conditional. So we have if plus the present simple, or will. This is when you can use will. This is the time relation answering your question. When can you combine if and will? You can do it for the first conditional in the future. So if something, present simple or will, plus will, may, might, or could. And then the verb. So we know will is more certain than may, might, or could. So may, might, or could show that it's possible, but we don't know how likely. But if something happens, if the condition is met, it's possible. If we use will, it's certain. So we're going to look at examples to make that clearer. So let's look at an example with the present.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, if in the second step we are using will, then after will we will directly use the verb. Am I right, ma'am?
So I'll show you examples of that.
All right, ma'am.
So here's an example when you can use if and will. If it will rain tomorrow. So that's an example. We've combined will and if. You will need an umbrella. So that's how we can combine if and will. That's the only time. If it
All right,
will
ma'am.
rain tomorrow, you will need an umbrella. That's certain. It's very certain that you need an umbrella if it rains. You can also say if it rains tomorrow. It's the same meaning as if it will rain tomorrow. You will need an umbrella. Very certain. When
Got
something
it,
is,
ma'am.
you're welcome. Great. I'm glad it's clear because this is quite a difficult ideas here. Let's look at an example if something is less certain. When something is less certain. If it rains tomorrow, if it rains tomorrow, your match might be cancelled. It might be cancelled. So I'm not certain, but it might be cancelled. You can replace might with may or could as well. Those also show uncertainty. If it rains tomorrow, your match could be cancelled. If it rains tomorrow, your match may be cancelled. So all those show that it's very, it's not very certain. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
can we use should in the first conditional sentences?
In the first conditional,
Yes,
if it
ma'am.
rains tomorrow, you should bring an umbrella. Yeah, that's fine. We're not talking about something that's going to happen though. So it's not quite, the sentence makes sense, but it's not quite the first conditional because we're not saying something is going to happen. We're saying if something happens, I'm making this suggestion. So then it's about suggestion and it's not about what is going to happen. So it's not a conditional, but it's a type of suggestion. Does that make sense?
All right, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
still,
much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Pratik says, if I get much money, so if you can say, if I get a lot of money, we don't use much with money because money is countable. We talk about a lot. So we talk about how many. Well, when we're talking about a lot, if I get a lot of money, sorry, I meant to say money is uncountable when we talk about money in general. The type of currency you have is countable, but money in general isn't. So we talk about a lot of money. If I get a lot of money, I might buy a car. So Pratik, we don't combine going to and might. We use might, will, could, or may. You can say, I am going to buy a car if you're certain. I am going to buy a car. That's the option. So you can say, if I get a lot of money, I'm going to buy a car, or I might buy a car if you're less certain. So yes, it is the first conditional, Pratik, but you have to decide if you're using going to, if you're using will, if you're using may, might, or could. You can't use both of those. Hi, Ganesh, welcome. Okay. So let's look at some examples of that. There's also another way to look at it in the negative, but we'll come back to that another time. There's a lot of detail with conditionals. So let's think of an example, first conditional sentence with a negative. If you buy a small car, you won't be able to fit many people inside. That's an example of won't. So we don't have to use will, we can use won't as well. If you buy a small car, you won't be able to fit many people inside. That's more certain. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So this is a letter that somebody has written. Okay, let's actually do this exercise.